Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today we're going to be talking all about that bloomin' Super Mario Maker 2 Direct that only went and happened last night, eh? Now, I watched it live. We always cover it live on NintendoLife.com, and you're welcome to pop along if you fancy. And suffice to say, overall, I thought it was good, but I did walk away a tiny bit disappointed. It really only is a tiny bit, but even so, there's just a part of me that didn't feel completely satisfied with what we saw, and I'm gonna explain it why and take you through all the new things that we saw and all the old things and all the other things that they showed, and we're gonna have a chat-a-rooney about them and say, are they any good? But anyway, that's more than enough waffling. Let's dive right into things. First of all, I do want to say that we're not going to be covering absolutely everything that was in the Direct. I'm just editing this video at the moment and I realised that I completely forgot to mention clear conditions. They are amazing, I love them to pieces, and basically you can make it so that there's an objective that someone has to complete before they go to the end of the flagpole. It's great. I can't believe I forgot to mention it. And I'm going to be going through this in PR order because Alex is a lazy bug. First of all, slopes. We already knew they were coming, but they were like, hey guys, look, there's slopes, and let's move on. We know about slopes. Angry Sun we knew about, on-off switch, yeah, water level. Actually, no, there's some new stuff about the water level and the Angry Sun, so we can chat about that. It was really reassuring to see that the Angry Sun is going to be available in every style, and as in like every game style, because we do see it very briefly in the original Super Mario Bros. Style, and that's reassuring, and more importantly, on the standard world theme as well, just on the standard ground theme. Well, I genuinely don't know what it's called. Above ground? Because there's underground. Above ground? The point is that the sun can be put on any level. You're not restricted to the desert theme, which is pretty cool. I don't know how it's going to work underground. If it would even work underground, it's Mario, who cares? But the sun can also be changed to a moon, and the moon is kind of a good, which is actually kind of scary, because if the moon actually came down and hit you, much like the sun, you'd definitely take at least a bit of damage. But if you touch the moon, all the enemies on the screen go plop, and everything's hunky-dory. Which seems, it's an interesting idea. I suppose it's like kind of a super power-up that you can try and hang on to, but you might accidentally activate it. I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I don't know how well it could be implemented, but it's a thing, isn't it? It's certainly a thing. It was really interesting to see how the water levels were going to work as well, as in like the water, literally the level of the water, not the level that is water. Not underwater is what I'm trying to say. The level, you can just put water in some of the level and you can make it rise up and down, and it did look a bit like you could only have it rising and falling, but that's not true. You can just set it to just stay there and then it doesn't move, which is really cool, and I think that's going to open up a lot of possibilities, even just on levels where you maybe, you know, like there were loads in Super Mario World where there was just water at the bottom, and the same in Super Mario Bros. 3. So that's going to open up a lot of possibilities. I really like that. I really like that it doesn't have to rise and fall, and that you can just have it there and just have a big body of water, so you can go splish splash. You can recreate fish splish. Fish. Splish. I really like that. Really excited about that. I thought it was absolutely splendid. What else we got? Banzai Bill, we knew about. You can get homing ones. I think we knew that. Co-op making. This is a weird one, because yeah, you can as you probably saw, in fact, if you haven't seen the Direct, watch it before watching this, you crazy fool. You can have two players creating on the same screen on the Switch, presumably mainly in TV mode. I mean, I suppose you could do it in tabletop, but even so, that's a bit odd. I like the idea of this. I can't help but feel that maybe it would be a little bit chaotic, because you can only work on one screen. I think it'd be really cool if you could implement two people working on the same level, but on their own screens, on their own Switches, doing it online and stuff like that. We'll be getting to online, don't worry. It's a fun little thing. I don't really see it taking off that enormously. It's definitely good for children, absolutely. So it's like, I want to play the Switch. No, I want to play the Switch. Well, look, shut up, you two. You can both play the Switch, and you can actually do something productive rather than just driving into walls in Mario Kart. Weirdly, though, at the top of the screen, it did specify that you can only use Joy-Con on their side. side. In fact, I've got one here. You can only use Joy-Con on their side. You cannot have, you know, each person with a pair of Joy-Con. These are both left. Or Pro Controller or anything like that. It has to be a sideways Joy-Con, which seems weird. I don't know why you'd choose to do that, but I suppose maybe it's to sort of push the whole idea of, you know, Switch, play anywhere, wah! And the next thing they say in the PR is to be continued. There are more new secrets in Super Mario Maker 2. Players will have a blast experimenting with all the tools and features they can use to create the courses of their dreams. So at least now we know for sure that that's not everything. I would be surprised if it was, for a couple of other reasons that maybe we'll get onto later, but even so, yeah, actually that gives me a little bit of hope for the thing I was disappointed about. Story mode. Yes, this game has a story, and it seemed fine, it seemed functional. I mean, it's story in a Mario game, it's never going to be out of this world, and don't talk to me, fans of Super Mario RPG. It's nice in a way that we're getting kind of like a standalone Super Mario Maker game in Super Mario Maker 2, much like the original one, only this one's really highlighting it a little bit more. It's really putting it out there and saying, hey, this is a thing, and there's a sort of a purpose to what you're doing. Collecting coins actually has an impact now. That's amazing. It looks like fun. I'm not really a big fan of Mr. Eraser and Undo Dog being in the world with Mario. They look freaky as hell when placed in a three-dimensional space. I don't know, they just don't sit right with me, and they kind of freak me out. But even so, I think the story mode looks like it's going to be fun. It's, you know, going to be pretty bare bones. I mean, story-wise, it's not a story, is it? It's just like a single-player mode, where you're not just creating stages and stuff like that. It's fine, it's serviceable, it's always good to have that in a Mario game, because it's a Mario game. Ah, yes, now we're getting onto the meat. New course themes! They've got some of them listed here. We had, what was it, 6 before, and now we've got another 4, bringing the grand total to £38, 8 shillings and 6pence. We've got 10 themes to choose from, and now it looks like that the themes are going to have more of their own identity and more of their own sort of slightly unique traits. Nothing out of this world, but like snow levels, the floors can be slippy, I think. It didn't really sort of show it off properly in the video, although it did with what we're going to talk about in a moment. What's really cool though is they've got new music composed by actually Koji Kondo, which is amazing because obviously, you know, a lot of these games didn't have like desert themes and things like that, so they need new music, and they've gone and done it properly, and I'm really keen to hear some proper, like, new classic Mario music after this amount of time. I haven't actually said what the themes are, have I? Desert, snow, forest, and sky. I'm personally really looking forward to the forest theme just because I like plants, I like, you know, just the color green generally, and I just, you know, it's nice. I like being in nature and stuff like that, so that's going to be pretty cool. But also the other ones are going to be good as well, especially desert, because, oh, it's hot. Maybe. So let's back this up a minute. We've got 10 different themes, and we have got 4 different game styles. I know we've got 3D World, but we'll come on to that in a minute. So that's a total of 40 different potential variations, which is massive. And I know we had a fair amount before, but this number's higher, so that means it's more, and that's never a bad. But then things get even more bonkeroonious when you take into account, you know, I mentioned the moon before. Well, the moon's used when it's nighttime, which, you know, is kind of the whole moon's thing. Although actually the moon's out during the day as well, quite a lot. Every single theme in every single game style can have a nighttime mode as well. And yeah, that's cool, you know, visually, oh, it's nighttime, you know, so that's doubling it again. That's 80 different styles, which is bonkers. But it goes even further than that. Nighttime is not just a visual thing. And depending on the type of course you're doing, it'll change things. Like in the desert, you'll get a sandstorm, so you'll be constantly pushed back, which is really cool because wind was a thing in the Lost Levels. It doesn't look like you're going to have that much control over it, but it's cool that it's there. You know, it's a nice little bonus. In the snow, the floors become really slippery. I don't know whether that means that they're not slippery in the daytime, but at least they are in the nighttime. There's also a thing, I'm pretty sure it's in Sky, where suddenly gravity is lower, which means you float around like a floaty float thing, floating in space. It's floaty. There's also floating Goombas, but that's in a different style, and in the underground style, I know for sure. Everything's upside down. You know, there's loads going on there. There's loads of crazy ideas, and it does mean that each style is, and each theme is more distinct. But even so, you know, sort of maybe you could argue, well, that's less variation. You know, I want to do upside down, but in this style. And yeah, I can kind of get that. But at the same time, it's great that they're going to have more of their own identity. I did feel that after a while, a lot of different styles just sort of became... it's kind of the same, except there's lava at the bottom. Oh yeah, the water can be lava as well with the rising up and down. That's pretty cool. I really like the nighttime idea. It's just great to just throw more crazy mechanics in there, more things for people to sort of fiddle with and create some really interesting courses, and more importantly, more things for Steve Gaming to break. Super Mario 3D World game style. Now, before we get into the meat of that, I do want to say that there is something that's really, really spicy about this, and that's the fact that, well, have a look at this image. You see there where it says extra game styles or additional game styles? I haven't got my notes with me, so I don't know what it actually says. Notice how it's plural. It's plural, and there's only one game style in there, Super Mario 3D World, which to me basically says, hey guys, we're gonna get at least one more. Also, there's a horrible gap, and Nintendo doesn't leave gaps, usually. So I'm pretty confident that there's going to be another game style, and I'll talk about it now, because otherwise I'll forget. The reason they're separated, if you haven't seen the Direct, which I told you to watch it, go and watch it, is, as they say, because it's not interchangeable with the other game styles. There's too much uniqueness in Super Mario 3D World, and I suppose maybe they could have implemented all the 3D World stuff into the other 4 game styles, and, you know, sort of vice versa, but there's, you know, 3D World is a complex game with complex 3D graphics, and I need to breathe. It would 100% be possible for them to implement them both ways, but at the same time, it would have been a hell of a lot of work, and it does allow 3D World to have its own feel and its own style. Because the games are complex and big enough. Let's not embiggen it any further. They said embiggen. They said embiggen. That's a Simpsons word. Then again, they also call Boom Boom a mad lad, so anything goes. But the fact that it's not interchangeable with the other styles is really reassuring, because that means that there are so many other games that they can pull from that wouldn't necessarily mesh really well with the original 4 games that we see here. You know, 1, 3, World, and new. Something like Super Mario Bros. 2 or Super Mario USA, whatever you want to call it, Doki Doki Panic. Basically, that's got the whole sort of plucking mechanics and everything. That would be great to be able to create those levels. However, I can totally understand why they wouldn't necessarily do it, because, you know, is it just going to be the look of it and then you'd be taking away all the mechanics and stuff like that? But no, now that they can actually, they've got that separate area, you could have entirely unique mechanics like that, specific to a style, which means picking up and throwing mother flipping vegetables. And there's probably some others as well, like Super Mario 64, whatever. It's Super Mario Bros. 2 that I'm interested in, because Shy Guys and those bouncing birdie things. Anyway, let's talk about what actually happens. So 3D World, that is the theme. I really like it overall, and I've just realized I've been talking really positively this entire time. The disappointment will come. It's basically Super Mario 3D World, but 2D, like the 2D sections, and it looks like they've got all the Cat Mario mechanics and movements and stuff like that. Loads of the items like Piranha Creepers. Not a lot that we didn't already know due to leaks and, you know, slipped images and stuff like that. Like Meowser and all that. Yeah, so nothing terribly new there, but it all looks really solid, all looks really good, and it looks really distinct from the other Mario Maker styles, which is clearly what they're going for, and overall, I think it looks good. I am simultaneously disappointed that it's not interchangeable with the other styles, and also excited because of what I said before. So I have mixed emotions. Mainly good though. Coarse World! It's basically the same as before, except for more search options, and overall, also you can dislike things now, which was something that they showed off very briefly. They didn't mention it, but you can see like I can't remember what it was. It was like, yeah, for a heart, or I like it, or something like that, and then there was a boo for a bad stage, presumably, which actually is really good, because just saying something's good, I mean, I can see, you know, why Nintendo wouldn't necessarily want to push a negative idea, but clearly, you know, they've implemented it now. But actually, I think that's really good because when things like, you know, auto-scrolling not auto-scrolling, but like autoplay levels where you don't do anything, or it just plays a tune or something, you know, sort of, yes, those are fun to begin with, but then after a while, I imagine most people just get bored with them. And, you know, there's no way to say I'm bored with these. Now there is. That's very good. Just make sure you don't do it on my levels. You can also tag your levels when you upload them, and you can search by tags as well, which is really cool because if you're bored of playing auto-scrolling levels, or you know, you really want to play an auto-scrolling level or something, you can specify that. And I think that's really good. It's a really nice quality of life feature. Course IDs are still there, which is okay, but at the same time, I'd really like there to be a better system using like the Nintendo Switch Online app or something, so you can just like on Twitter click a link and then it takes you through. Do you want to download this later on? And you'd be like, yes. Endless Challenge looks pretty cool as well. It's just you play levels for as long as possible without dying, and you can get a good ranking, and you're just playing loads and loads of levels. So if you just want random levels thrown in your face, kind of like the 100 Mario Challenge, but not a bit broader. You didn't need that many options. Just play the levels forever. Cool. Now, this is the biggest thing. This is the meatiest little sausage of the entire bunch. Playing online multiplayer. Yes, you can't just create courses together, as you should know, because now you've seen the Direct, haven't you? Yes. You can now play Super Mario Maker online with up to 3 other people. It may require 3 other people, I don't know, but I know that there were 4 people on screen. Yes. It comes in 2 flavors. It can be competitive, or it can just be not competitive, or cooperative, that's the one. It looks like a really cool addition, and I can see this being a massive boost for Super Mario Maker generally. You can play locally as well. You can't all play on the same system. Every player has to have their own Switch and copy of the game, which is a little bit disappointing, but at the same time I can totally understand why they don't want a load of people all on the same screen bouncing around, because we've seen that before in Mario games and it just doesn't work, does it? It just doesn't work. Like 2 people, it's okay, but you're still gonna be bouncing off everyone, and yeah, it's better to be online. Have your own screen, it's good. For me personally, the multiplayer versus is especially exciting because just the idea of having to rush to get to the end, it feels very much like something that like a ROM hack would do of, you know, Super Mario World or something like that. You know, multiplayer is not something that really goes together with Mario, and yet it seems like this is gonna make it work, and that's really exciting. And the fact that it's not its own sort of standalone Mario Online type game and it's just a part of Super Mario Maker 2, primo. So overall, yeah, the Direct was really, really good. So why the hell am I a tiny bit disappointed? And why have I taken this long to talk about it? Because it's about something that wasn't in the Direct. And it's basically because I'm an idiot. After I'd slept on it and I rewatched it again this morning, I was like, yeah, that was a good Direct. And I felt more positive about it, but I was still slightly disappointed, and I still am. I think it was mainly because I bigged it up in my head and made, you know, unrealistic expectations for myself, which I try so hard not to do, but for some reason it got away from me. I think maybe because when I heard about the news, I was at a meeting for work and everything, which is Nintendo Life. I recorded under a duvet. That was the thing. And I'm not even exaggerating. The Direct could probably never live up to the expectations that I had in my head. I was expecting, you know, 99 different things, loads of new enemies, you know, that sort of thing, and realistically, that was unfeasible, that was unreasonable, that was unbeasable. But the one thing I am genuinely disappointed about that we haven't seen, and it may well yet happen after they said, well, that's not everything, chaps, is the fact that they didn't confirm, or I suppose deny, that you can't create entire course worlds. Like, you can't create your own little mini Mario games, even if it was only like 10 levels. That's the thing I want the most. I really like playing individual levels. I really, really do. It's great fun. But what I miss is just like, not even like a proper overworld, but just a series. You know, like a tailored series, a tailored little Mario game that you could create. So you've got 10 courses or maybe 20 courses, and you know, you can name them, you can theme them, you can put a little bit of, maybe even a little bit of dialogue in between or something, and you can move around the map freely. And I want Super Mario World, but I want to be able to make the levels. I am well aware that I'm being a spoiled little brat about this, and realistically, I should just be happy that Super Mario Maker 2 has already got so much that it already has, so much new stuff, slopes. But I think I'd kind of put it in my head that they are absolutely gonna do this, there's no way they won't, and then, you know, sort of the direct happened and I was like, oh, I was bubbling with anticipation when they revealed the world system, and it, at the moment, doesn't exist. Maybe it will in the future, but it did leave me slightly disappointed. And I'm still just a teeny tiny little bit disappointed, and it's purely a subjective, selfish thing, because objectively, that was a damn good direct. But, you know, Mario's like a childhood thing for me, and I want, you know, Super Mario World was like the first proper Mario game that I played, and that was magical. When I was just, you know, so rubbish I couldn't get past Donut Plains, you know? And I think I just wanted to be able to relive that and be able to create it. And I set myself up. It's my own fault. It's absolutely my own fault. And it's not the fault of Nintendo or anyone like that, because, you know, it would be a big thing to implement. Maybe they will again. I really, really hope they do. But, And there you have it. That's what I thought of the Nintendo Direct, all about the Super Mario makers. And yep, it was overall really good, really positive, but damn it, I want my world. I'm sorry, I want my world. What did you think of it? Have you seen it still? If you haven't seen the Direct now, I am actively disappointed in you. I forgive you. Let us know what you think of it down there in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you have your entire dreams of a world based entirely on that subscribe button dashed in 15 minutes or 17 minutes or whatever the hell it was, and be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye bye.